time is the 8th chapter of the Gita. Is it what you are doing in the Vijaya group?
Yeah, we've been going over in the public lecture point of view, we are going in this progression here.
The 8th chapter is known for a topic that it discusses, and that is what happens after death. Also, the 8th chapter discusses what's Akshara Bhrama, Brahman that is immutable. The 8th chapter itself is called Akshara Bhrama Yoga. The topic is Akshara Bhrama. Brahma is, means God or Ishvara. The very word Brahman itself reveals what it is. Bruhatvad Brahma. That which is big. But Brahman is very commonly employed in the Upanishads. And in Bhagavad Gita also, this 8th chapter talks about Brahman. That which is big without any qualification, which is great, which is limitless. So ultimately, the word Brahma means limitless. And Brahman is the very truth of the creation, truth of our life. Vedanta very beautifully points out that look, the truth of everything is limitless. What appears is all limited, including our own self. Understand that in our life, that we are limited being is a big problem to us. That I am limited in time, meaning that I did not exist before a certain time before my birth. I will not exist after my death. That my existence will come to an end. Meaning that I am mortal. I am limited by time. Even after death also I am growing older, so there's old age, death. All of these are big problems because I am limited in time. I am mortal. I am limited in my capacities. I have been given some capacities, a capacity to know, capacity to create, capacity to act. Jnana Shakti, Ichha Shakti, Kriya Shakti. Jnana Shakti, the power to know. We have intellect with which we know. Ichha Shakti, the power to will, we have a mind with which we will. Kriya Shakti, we have this vital air, prana, with which we act. All these powers, capacities are given to us, but they are limited. And I am a self-conscious being who is very keenly aware of the fact that I am limited. We are self-conscious beings, conscious of ourselves. And they were very keenly aware of the fact that we are limited, I am limited. The life forms other than human beings also are limited, of course. But they do not have the self-consciousness. Therefore, they do not suffer from a sense of limitation. Even though limited they are, like a dog or a cat or a buffalo or whatever, they are limited also, of course. More limited than we are. But they are not conscious of this fact that we are limited. Therefore, they are not suffering from a sense of limitation. They may suffer from hunger, thirst, heat, cold. Yes, that kind of suffering is there in the life of the other creatures also. But this suffering, that I am limited, I am inadequate, this is an additional suffering that human being has. Human being also is suffering in terms of heat and cold and hunger and thirst, and this is all there. Union, separation, we associate, we disassociate, we separate. The birth, death, the gain and loss, the success and failure, all these are there. But the greatest pain, thing that is most painful to us, is this notion on my part that I am a limited being. Whenever I become aware of this reality about myself, that I am a limited being, I become unhappy. So this is something to be very much understood. In our life, what is the cause of sorrow? What is the cause of unhappiness? Only this one thing, and that is the notion that I am a limited being. That's all, that's the reason for my sorrow or unhappiness, nothing else. We think that failure is the cause of unhappiness, loss is cause of unhappiness, insult is the cause of unhappiness. We think that those are the cause of unhappiness. Meaning that what happens outside us is the cause of unhappiness. But the cause of unhappiness is not centered upon something other than me, it is centered upon myself. Success or failure, gain or loss, honor or dishonor, nothing need to make me unhappy, really. That is how Lord Krishna describes a wise person. Sama dukkha sukha swastha samaloshtrashmakantanah tulya priya priyo dhiraha tulya nindatma samstuti. The ninda and samstuti, meaning that whether he is praised or censured, is okay for him. Manapamana. He is even-minded even in honor and dishonor. Tulyo mitrare pakshayoho is equal to a friend and a foe. Meaning that it is possible that what is happening out there, whether honor or dishonor, gain or loss, success or failure, they need not affect us, they need not make us unhappy, meaning that they need not deviate us from our happiness, except the fact that I am suffering from the notion of being a limited entity. And all those things such as failure, such as dishonor, such as insult, such as a loss, such as separation, all of those enhance my sense of being limited and helpless, and therefore they become triggering points for making me unhappy. Nothing else. So Vedanta teaches us that the cause of human suffering is the sense of being a limited entity. Even after you know yourself as limitless, the hunger and thirst will not go. The world will still treat you with honor and dishonor. Your efforts may or may not be successful. All those things will remain, may remain. But all of those things have no effect if you are free from the sense of limitation, then there is no problem at all. In that respect, Your Brahma becomes very important. Brahma means limitless. And the Upanishad teaches that you are limited. You are Brahma. Or what is Brahma? Sarvam Khalvidam Brahma. What is Brahma? What is limitless? You are limitless. Everybody else also is limited. Everything is limited. Meaning the limitlessness is the truth of all that is limited. We find ourselves limited. We find all the human beings limited. We find everything limited. However big a thing is, it is still limited. However great it is, however most knowledgeable person is, still the knowledge is limited. However great an accomplishment is, still that accomplishment is only for a period of time limited. Nothing is permanent. You become the President of the United States for a limited time, not for a limitless time. And so, everything, but that everything is limited is what appears on the surface, but Upanishad says, Vedanta says that the truth behind everything that appears limited is limitless. That's called Brahman. So that Brahman is the subject matter of the 8th chapter of Gita. Akshara Bhrama Yogo Nama Ashtamodhyaya. The subject matter of 8th chapter, Akshara Bhrama. The 8th chapter begins with several questions from Arjuna. In the 7th chapter, Lord Krishna concluded saying that, I'm just quoting those verses from the 7th chapter, which become the basis of the 8th chapter. Then Lord Krishna said, at one point Lord Krishna said, knowing which nothing remains to be known. Lord Krishna says, if you know me, if you know the truth, nothing remains to be known. Because what is this truth? What is this Brahman? Therefore, a wise person recognizes Brahman everywhere, in everything. Because what is manifestation of Brahman? Lord Krishna says at the end of 7th chapter, Jara Marana Mokshaya Mama Shritya Gandhe Te Brahma Tad Viduh Krishnam Adhyatmam Karma Chakilam. For becoming free from old age and death, those who take refuge unto me and worship me, they know me. And they know me in my entirety. So truth is into states, you may say. One is the ultimate truth, what is the absolute truth, which is Brahman limitless. Sometimes they call it Nirgunam Brahman, Brahman without qualification, Brahman transcends qualification. That very same Brahman appears in the whole universe. So Brahman, that inherently, Brahman means truth, God, Ishvara, who in his inherent nature is, it transcends all the limitations, all the attributes, all the qualifications. That truth alone, that Brahman alone manifests as this whole universe. The universe can be looked upon as consisting of its different expressions. Adhyatma, Adhibhuta, Adhideva, Adhiyajna. These 4 words Lord Krishna uses at the end of the 7th chapter. That if you know Brahman, you know Adhyatma, you know Adhibhuta, you know Adhideva, you know Adhiyajna. These words were used for the first time. Therefore, the 8th chapter of Bhagavad Gita opens with these questions from Arjuna. Kim tat Brahma? Oh Lord, what's the nature of Brahma? You say that the wise person knows Brahman. What is Brahman? Kim Adhyatmam. You said that he knows Adhyatma. What is Adhyatma? Adhibhutam Jakim Proktam. What is Adhibhutam? Adhidevam Kimuchyate. What is Adhideva? Adhiyajna Katham Gotra. What is Adhiyajna? And the seventh question is Prayana Kale Chakatham Gneyosi Niyatatmavihi. And O Lord, how do the yogis know you, are aware of you even at the time of death? So we can roughly divide the 8th chapter in these two categories. One is 8th chapter talks about Brahma. Other is the 8th chapter talks about remembering Brahman. Even at the time of death. So thus you can say that 8th chapter has these two topics. Today we will talk about one topic, namely Brahman. Tomorrow morning we will talk about the remembering Brahman even at the time of death. These two topics, Lord Krishna, and of course the third topic is what is the gati, what is the passage or what the route the soul takes after the death. So tonight, let's talk about the Akshara Bhrama. Aksharam, there is the word Akshara in Sanskrit. I think most of us must be familiar with Akshara. Or it is a negative particle. Akshara means there is not Akshara, it's called Akshara. Lord Krishna says, Aksharam Brahma Paramam. What is Brahma? Is Aksharam. Naksharaditi Aksharam. Kshara. Kshara means that which is changing, which is perishable. Aksharam, imperishable. That it does not suffer loss, does not decay. That is undecaying, free from loss, which does not perish, that's changeless, imperishable. Brahman, the limitless is changeless, imperishable. See, that's very important because whatever we come across is all changing. We are changing constantly, our body is changing, our mind is changing, our sense organs are changing. So we are constantly undergoing change. And the world also is constantly undergoing change. Nothing is ever the same the next moment. So our experience is what? Our experience is of that which keeps on changing. Therefore the Gautam Buddha said, Sarvam Kshanikam Kshanikam. Everything is momentary, everything is momentary, everything is changing. World is changing, it's constantly in motion, changes in time, changes in place, it changes everywhere. You see the Swami after 5 years, suppose I did not come out over here, but I come after 5 years, hey Swamiji, wow! You look old. Hair's turned grey. It is not that I became old overnight. In 5 years, every day that greyness was happening. The oldness was happening. We don't notice it because it's happening every day. We do not know. If we look at our face every morning in the mirror, we look at, I think that I'm the same. I'm not the same. Says Bhartruhari, every morning we see the sunrise and think that the same sun is coming back. All the same. Says no. As the sun rises and sun sets, one day is gone. One day of our life is gone. We have so many days, fortunately, that passage of one day does not seem to create an effect, but one day, now I am 70 years old, let us say. It does not happen overnight. In Gujarati they say that the whole lake gets filled up, drop by drop, the whole lake gets filled up. Pebble by pebble, the whole wall gets created. Similarly, moment by moment, our life ebbs away. Kala kridati gacchati ayuhu. Kala kridati, the time sports, gacchati ayuhu. The life is ebbing away. Change. So change seems to be what we experience all the time, and therefore some people thought that change is a reality of life. Vedanta says no, Aksharam. Changelessness is the reality of life. A change cannot take place unless there is an unchanging platform. A train cannot run unless there are tracks which are not running. A river cannot flow unless there is a bed that does not flow. A wheel cannot rotate unless there is an axis center point that does not rotate. Similarly, everything in the world is changing constantly. It's crazy. Earth is rotating, moon is rotating around the earth rotates around the sun rotates around the sun, that rotates around the earth. Everything is constant motion. But all this motion would not have been possible unless there was a motionless. All the change would not be possible unless there is a changeless. So Upanishad says, or Vedanta says, that Aksharam, immutable, imperishable, changeless, is the reality of life. You see, this is very consoling. This is very comforting. If you understand that change is the cause of sorrow, if you understand that limitation is the cause of sorrow, it's very comforting to hear that limitlessness is the truth or changelessness is the truth. It is very comforting. At least, even if it does not become immediately a matter of experience, or still, even intellectually understanding that also is very comforting. That even though I think I am a changing person, in reality I am changeless. That all the change at LD is ultimately held together by a changeless thread. Just as in a garland of flowers, imagine every flower being different from every other flower. A number of flowers, different colors, different shape, different fragrance are there. All of them are held in position by a thread that does not change. Similarly, the whole universe is like a flower garland. Each one of us is like a flower, having our own form, our own fragrance. The whole universe is held together in one harmony by a thread that does not change. This whole changing universe is sustained together, is supported, is sustained by one changeless principle. Aksharam Brahma Paramam. It's very important. Somebody has to tell us, because we will never suspect. What we experience is death all the time, change all the time. Change in ourselves or change around. And if change is the reality, then of course there is no hope at all of our becoming free from sorrow. But Vedanta says that no, changeless is the truth of the change. Aksharam Brahma Paramam. Swabhava Adhyatma Uchyate. Swabhava. Swabhava. One's own nature. Upanishad Gita says, Swabhava Adhyatma Uchyate. Where is that Brahman, Swami? You are saying that there is changeless principle called Brahman, which is limitless, which is changeless, which is Satyam Jnana Anandam, which is limitless, which is Ananda, which is wholeness, completeness, fullness. So we are told that what looks incomplete has its basis in the completeness. What appears changing has its basis in the changeless. What appears perishable has its basis in the imperishable. What appears all many has its basis in one. What appears dissimilar has its basis in this sameness. Where is that sameness? Where is that changeless? Where is that imperishable? Where is that limitless? Where is that ananda? We are interested in our life in ananda, in happiness. We don't even care about changeless, we care only for one thing. What is it? The unhappiness. Upanishad says, Yo vaibhuma tat sukham nalpe sukhamasti. Very wonderful statement. Upanishad says, what is happiness? Limitlessness, limitless alone is happiness, and anything limited cannot be happy. There cannot be happiness in anything limited, there is happiness only in the limitless. Understand that we are interested in happiness, correct? Everybody is pursuing happiness and trying to avoid unhappiness. What is happiness? Happiness is not there in any limited thing. Whether it is wealth, whether it is name, whether it is fame, whether it is power, whatever it is. It is heaven. Anything that is limited. Happiness cannot be in anything that is limited. Happiness can be only in the limitless. The Swamiji, now and then we do feel happy. We have not become limitless, still we do feel happy. But now and then when we do feel happy, understand what happens, we come in contact with that limitless. Momentarily, all the limitations drop off and we come in contact with the limitless. We don't recognize that moment slips by. But our Swami says, in a moment of ecstasy, imagine that something wonderful happened to you. So now and then we have those moments, not many, but now and then. I never expected Swamiji to get this job. I got the job. I find the letter of offer, job offer. I never expected. Swamiji, I got admission to medical school where I wanted to go. Sometimes unexpected things happens. What happens? We forget everything. We are overjoyed. So there are moments which may not be even planned by us. Mostly what is planned is always limited. But this kind of unplanned things happen. All of a sudden my friend, whom I had not heard from at 25, he called me. All of a sudden I am so happy to hear from him. Imagine a moment of happiness like that. We are overjoyed. When we forget ourselves. There are moments when we forget ourselves. Then what is happening, We forget our limitedness and we are face to face with the limitless. With our own nature. We are as though divorced from our own self, as though deviated from our own self. And therefore we are unhappy. But in a moment of happiness, we come face to face with our own self, that is nothing. That is happiness. So understand that whenever you experience happiness, you are experiencing yourself. A bowl of ice cream may become an occasion. A slice of pizza, a bowl of ice cream, a movie, a joke, a slapstick joke, as our Swami ever said. A slapstick joke like those jokes that the jokers tell in the circuses. I'm trying to remember one, and this one comes to my mind. Here's a man who is very controlling, very aggressive, very dominating at place of work. So somebody told him, hey, so and so, you are like a lion when you are at place of work. What happens to you when you reach home? When at home, what happens to you? You're like a lion when you are outside. what happens when you go home? He says, when I go home, when Durga rides over me. You know Durga? Her vehicle is lion, you know. And so, someday you will get some microphone stands, you know. Which can come closer to you.
We'll do that next time.
You get some chairs, some tables, something, you know. Year after year after year. I did not know this was so narrow. Anyway, we have been saved, so. Our slapstick joke became a different joke. So this man says, when we come home, a Durga rides over me and therefore it becomes like a lamb. You know what's the vehicle of Durga? Lion is the vehicle of Durga. So this man is lying outside. At home is what? Durga controls him. Who is Durga? You know that. Something like that, some silly stuff. But what happens is, momentarily we forget that we are a limited being, and therefore we as though come face to face with our own self, which is limitless. So whenever we are experiencing a moment of happiness, understand that the movie or the ice cream or whatever else seems to give me happiness, or an admission, or a promotion, or a job, or a contract, or a friend, whatever appears to give me happiness, that's mere occasion, that's just nimitta. What it does is, it brings me in contact with myself. Closer the contact, more intense the happiness. Swamiji, why does the degree of happiness vary? Because between ourselves and happiness, as though this notion of being limited is only separation. And the extent to which that notion goes, to that extent we come closer to ourselves. You know the story of the 10th man. How the boys were 10 and the leader wanted to verify whether all of them is safely or not. So he counted. He asked his friends to line up and he counted 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Count. Count is 9. Every time he counted it was 9, one by one his friend came along, and then they all counted one by one. Every time the answer is 9. They all concluded the 10th man is lost. They are searching for the 10th man. Now we know very well, we are all intelligent. We know the reason why the 10th man is not lost. There is a notion that the 10th man is lost. Is it not so? What are the reason for creating that notion? Reason is that that fellow is not taking himself into account. And therefore, he thinks that the 10th, but there is a notion. So what separates the 10th man from the 10th man? The fellow is searching also is 10th man. And what they are searching also is 10th man, is it not so? When they are searching for 10th man, who is searching whom? The 10th man is searching for the 10th man. It looks as though the 10th man is split into two, the seeker as well as the sought. What separates the 10th man from the 10th man? The notion that I am the 9th man. Notion that 10th man is lost. Similarly, what separates me from my limitlessness? The notion that I am a limited being. That's all. But we are so deeply rooted in the notion that I am a limited being that remains. Even after being told a number of times that you are Brahman, that does not touch us at all. We get back to the same old rut of taking ourselves as a limited being. I must have told you the story of this man who was listening to a Swami for 1 month. Morning and evening. The Swami is talking about Vedanta. Vedantins only talk about one thing, you are Brahman. It's all they keep telling you are Brahman, you are limitless, you are boundless. This man is listening to Swamiji, morning in for a whole month. Towards the end of the month, and he's sitting in the front row. He understands Swami very well. He's a very learned person. I mean, he himself has studied. The last 2-3 days, this person looked very unhappy. Sitting in the front row, Swami noticed. Fellow is unhappy. He's lost. He's not enjoying the lectures. So he called him. He said, what's the matter? I find you that you are very unhappy. Has something happened? He says, yes, Swamiji, something has happened. What has happened? He says, 3 days ago in the evening, after I left this lecture, outside the hall, I put on my shoes and I was walking away. And somebody comes from behind and catches hold of my neck, says, hey, you thief! I was shocked, Swami. I'm very honest, but I'm not a thief. But he pointed out to my shoes, look what you are doing. Swamiji, by mistake, I put on the new shoes. I had the same kind of shoes, but my shoes were old, these shoes were new, but I was not quite attentive, so by mistake I put on those shoes. That fellow called me thief. He told me all kinds of words. I was not able to sleep for the last 3 nights, Swamiji, I am very unhappy. Who is that fellow who called me thief? Why? He complained a lot. Swamiji simply says, look, I have been telling you every morning and evening that you are Brahman. That has not touched you at all. And once that fellow said you are a thief, that seems to have gone inside. That is because our own estimate of ourselves is very low. Our Swamiji says, 5 people are going, their backs are towards you. You call them, hey Sridhar. Sridhar looks back. Hey Arvind. Arvind looks back. Hey Mohan. Mohan looks back. Hey idiot. All the 5 looks back. That is because that is the kind of estimate that we have of ourselves. Oh, this is a notion. This is a notion that I created about myself. It is that notion alone that keeps me, that deprives me of the limitlessness that I am. So what does a moment of happiness do to us? Momentarily that notion drops off momentarily. As soon as the moment is over, it comes back again anyway. Akshara Bhrama. Lord Krishna says that what is immutable, imperishable, Brahman, the limitless. Meaning that you are that imperishable, limitless Brahman. Svabhava dhyatma uchyate. Svabhava, 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 one's own nature. Same Brahman, manifested the Atma. Hey, same Brahman is svabhava. That is limitless, imperishable, that alone has assumed this little form of name and form, which is body, mind, sense complex. And that alone is right now talking. Who is talking? Brahman, that is limitless. But what do I think? I am talking. A limited person is talking. Who is listening? Same. Brahman is listening. But then what do you think? A limited entity is listening. Who am I? I'm a speaker, I'm a listener, I'm a walker, I'm a talker. The one who acts like this, the one who constantly acts as a walker, talker, speaker, hearer, thinker, man, woman, father, mother, brother, sister, son, daughter. One who takes himself or herself in all this manner, who is that? Svabhava dhyatma uchyate. Lord Krishna says, the same limitless, imperishable Brahman alone manifests as Svabhava, as the individual being. Then, Adhibhutam Ksharo Bhava. So the universe can be looked upon as consisting of Adhyatma, Adhibhuta, Adhidaiva. Adhyatma at the individual plane, Adhibhuta at the elemental plane. Bhuta means the 5 elements. Adhidaiva, the divine plane. You see, we have the concept of devatas in the Vedas. Devatas can be looked upon as all these very controlling forces. We see that this universe of 5 elements is functioning in a very controlled fashion. The earth, water, fire, all the elements are exhibiting their own nature, and this simply rule, meaning that all of them function in a very controlled manner. Fire has no freedom to be cold, water has no freedom to be hot, if it is given the freedom. Everything acts according to its nature, as though there is someone controlling. So we say that all these devatas, all these gods are there, they are the controlling forces. So we call Earth as a devata, Agni as a devata, Surya as a devata, Chandrama as a devata, all these are devatas. Varuna is a devata which controls activity of water, Earth is a devata which controls the earth. Surya is a devata, the principle of light. Fire is a devata, the principle of heat and light. That whole world of devatas adhidaivam, what we call the divine plane. Individual plane, adhyatma. The elemental plane, adhibhuta. The divine plane, adhidaiva. See, all these 3 are constantly functioning in order for any activity to take place. Right now, this activity, namely, I am talking is going on, you are listening, that is going on. In this activity also, all the 3 are involved, Adhyatma, Adhibhuta, Adhidaiva. I am speaking, the organ of speech is from where the voice is produced, organ of speech is called Adhyatma. The sound, the words are produced is called Adhibhuta. And there is a presiding deity of organ of speech that's called fire. Fire is the presiding deity of speech. Only when the fire is helpful to us, that the organ of speech can function. Adhyatma, Adhibhuta, Adhidaiva. You are looking at me, let us say. Your eyes are Adhyatma. This color and form you are looking at is called Adhibhuta. And that looking or seeing of the eyes is possible. When is it possible? When can you see me? Our Vishwanath was much worried. The Swami, there is a storm, we are losing light. We have to find out whether there is light in the church or not. We were happy to learn that there was light in some stores around. So yes, there is light in the church, there was this traffic light. Hey, there is light here, it's happy. Why? Why light is so important? So there is no light here, what would happen? Could you see me? Could I see you? When is seeing possible? When the light is there. There is light of the sun. Sun is the Adhidaiva. Eyes are the Adhyatma. The color and forms are the Adhibhuta. Adhyatma, Adhibhuta, Adhidaiva. All this vyavahara, any kind of interaction or transaction that takes place, always involves these 3. But something else also is involved. Adhibhuta is a creation made of 5 elements. When is that possible? When the universe is created. When was it created? When the creating forces are there. Lord Krishna says that it is the karma that brings about the creation. So what brings about the creation? The karma brings about the creation. Bhuta bhava bhavakara visarga karma sangita. That is responsible for this creation is called karma. You know something? That this creation, the universe, is the product of the collective karma of all of us. Karma is the cause, and what happens is the effect. For example, this evening we are all assembled here. Now, what would make it possible? Karma. Whose karma? Our total karma. The collective karma of all the people who are assembled here, that makes this particular event possible. And therefore, whatever happens behind that, the cause is karma. So there is a universe here. What makes that universe possible? Karma. Whose karma? My karma, your karma, karma of collective karma of all the living beings. So karma is the cause of the universe, that is also involved. And fourth, when there is karma, then there is what we call karma dhyaksha, karma phaladata. Karma or action is possible when we have the grace of what we call the karma dhyaksha. By whose grace action takes place. Who is the karma phaladata? Who is the giver of the results of the action? See, 5 things are involved. 1, adhyatma at the individual level. For any kind of a transaction, for us to live our life moment to moment, these 5 factors are involved. 1 is adhyatma, the individual. Adhibhuta, the elemental world. Adhideva, all the controlling devatas, which control the activities of all the adhibhuta. Karma, which has made all of this possible. And adhiyajna, the Ishvara, who is the giver of the results of action. The creator, the sustainer, the dissolver. So understand that these 5 things are involved at all the moments. Is it not so? Adhyatma, the individual, interacting with the world, adhibhuta, by the grace of the devatas, the deva, in the world which is possible with karma, which is created by Ishvara, adhyatma. Adhyatma, adhibhuta, adhideva, adhyatma, and karma. These words are used in the 8th chapter. That's why I'm explaining them to you. These 5 make up the whole life. Who are they? One Ishvara is in the form of all these 5. That same Akshara Bhrama manifests the individual being. Same Ishvara Brahman manifests as the elemental world. Same Brahman manifests all the devatas. Same Brahman manifests his karma. And same Brahman manifests as the creator, sustainer, dissolver. Jiva, Jagat, Ishvara, Karma, Devata, which consists of the whole world, which make up the whole world, all of these are manifestations of one Brahman. See, Upanishad says, Sarvam khalu idam Brahma. What is Brahma? Bhagavad Gita says, Vasudeva Sarvam. All this is Vasudeva. In what manner? What is all this? All this consists of what? What is all this when we say it is what? Adhyatma, individual, adhibhuta, elemental, adhideva, the divine devatas, divine forces, karma, which makes it possible, and adhyajna, the creator, sustainer, dissolver. These 5 makes up this whole universe, the whole life. Whatever that is made up of this 5. See, in the 7th chapter, the statement was made, Vasudeva Sarvam. What is Vasudeva? What is Sarvam? The 8th chapter explains to us. Sarvam consists of all these 5. Meaning that one who recognizes Ishvara in all of these is really a wise person. This wise person understands, knows Ishvara in both ways. Wise person knows Ishvara is his own self, and also knows Ishvara as manifest, as Adhyatma, Adhibhuta, Adhideva, Adhiyajna, and Karma. Everywhere you recognize Ishvara. Ishvara in various costumes. The costume individual, Adhyatma. Costume of 5 elements, Adhibhuta. The costume of Devatas, Adhideva. The costume of action, Karma. the costume of creator, Adhiyajna or Ishvara, or the creator. Karmafaladana. So one who knows, Lord Krishna says, the wise person knows all of this as manifestation of Ishvara. Aksharam Brahma Paramam Swabhavo Dhyana Uchyate Bhuta Bhavo Bhakara Visarga Karma Samyata Adhibhutam Ksharo Bhava Purushas Chadrevadam Adhiyajno Hamevatra Dehe Dehe Bhutambara. Alright, so this is Brahman. Brahman itself is the ground for all the fire. Upon Brahman that is immutable, changeless, limitless, that Brahman that is changing appears as a changing world made of this fire. These five are constantly changing. Adhyatma, Adhibhuta, Adhideva, Adhiyajna and Karma. They are all changing principles, entities. And one changeless Brahman alone manifests as all this changing universe. So, changeless is Brahman and changing also is Brahman. If any of you has listened to Ishavasya Upanishad, it says, Tad ejati, tad naijati. Tad ejati, that Brahman moves, changes. Tad naijati, it does not move. Simultaneously, Brahman is what? Motionless as well as moving, changeless as well as changing. Meaning that what is motionless manifests as moving. What is changeless manifests as changing. Is it possible that one thing can be both changeless and changing? Tadejati, tannayajati. It changes, it does not change. How is it possible that one thing is both? Only when one is right, other is not right. One is satyam, other is mithya. The changeless is satyam, the changing is an appearance. Meaning that the changeless appears as changing. The one appears as many. The limitless appears as limited. This is what Vedanta teaches, which is summarized in a few verses in the 8th chapter of Gita. The Lord Krishna says, Avyaktoksha ityukta tamahu paramam gatim yam prapyana nivartante tad dhama paramam mama. Arjuna, Avyakta, Akshara, what I have said, Avyakta and unmanifest, Akshara is imperishable. That is paramam, that's the ultimate goal of life. Yam prapyana nivardante tad dhama paramam, that gaining which one does not return to this samsara. So, gaining means what? Knowing which. Knowing is limitless by itself, and knowing the whole universe also is manifestation of limitless as myself. Understand? If limitlessness is my nature, then you know what? It means that the whole universe is nothing but the manifestation of myself. So I am consciousness that is limitless, the whole universe also is manifestation, the same consciousness. So one consciousness manifests as individual, same consciousness manifests as the world, same consciousness manifests as the creator, same consciousness manifests as karma, same consciousness manifests as devatas, one consciousness manifesting in all that, the consciousness itself is limitless, manifesting in all these different ways. One who knows this truth, Tad dhama paramam mama, Lord Krishna says, that is my ultimate abode, my ultimate nature. Yam prapyana nivartante, tad dhama paramam mama. Attaining what? Gaining what? One does not come back to this life of suffering, or life of change, or life of sorrow. As you say, really, there is no sorrow other than our being separated from the limitless. So we are as though separated from limitless. Like the 10th man is separated from 10th man by the knowledge, by the notion that I am not the 10th man, and so also we are separated from limitlessness because of the notion that we are limited. So in wake of this knowledge, that notion of limitlessness goes away. Yam prapyana nivartante tad dhama paramam mama. Knowing which, gaining which, knowing which, there is no coming back to the sense of limitation, there is no question of any suffering. That is my paramana, that is my ultimate abode, that is my ultimate nature. How do you know him? Lord Krishna says, by bhakti. So Bhagavad Gita presents bhakti or devotion as again and again the means of knowledge. Purushasya parapārtha bhaktya labhyasthananyaya yasyam rasthani bhutani yena sarvamidam tatam. Same chapter says. Purushasya parapārtha bhaktya labhyasthananyaya. He Partha, that Purusha, that Paramatma, Brahman, the limitless, the self. How to attain? Bhaktya ananyaya, by ananya bhakti, by the devotion that does not admit of anything else. So Lord Krishna says, bhakti or devotion is the means of knowledge. What is devotion, Swamiji? We think that devotion means what? A commitment. What is devotion? Commitment. Imagine a young boy whose father is a physician, whose mother is a physician, and he sees, how their parents are so important because they are physicians and they are helping so many people and so many people respect them, and he loves that. He also wants to be a physician. He also wants to serve. So this idea of becoming a physician came to this boy at the age of 12. He was in 6th grade that time. From then on, what is his mind going on? Physician, physician, doctor, doctor, doctor. He knows that he must score well in high school, then alone he can get admission in a good school. Doctor. He goes to undergraduate. What topics will he take? What subjects will he take? What are you doing? Pre-med, life sciences, biology, whatever. What is it? Doctor. There are also MCAT, doctor. Made admission in a medical school, again, constantly devoted. Finishing that, residency. Finishing that, whatever else. Fellowship. Then post-fellowship. Subspecialty. It takes years. By the time you finish all these 30 years old, Swamiji, one person said, Swamiji, by the time we finish our all training in surgery, we are ready for the first heart attack. It's such a long course. Oh, it's a result of what? The result of devotion. This is a simple example I am giving you. There are many physicians, but then still, any kind of an accomplishment in our life is always the result of devotion and commitment. Commitment which enables me to put all my efforts in that. Imagine these Olympic champions. If you look at their life, at the age of 16, 18 years old, this fellow is a swimming champion and all kinds of, any champion. You look at the life. That fellow started swimming when he was 3. At that time it was his parents' dream, to make him a champion. But he started. All accomplished musicians started. Dancers, musicians, sportsmen, athletes, scientists. Anybody who is an accomplished person, if you look at their life, one thing we find common. What is it? Bhakti. Devotion to the very goal. And devotion does not stop there. All the efforts are directed in that direction. Nothing other than that. From childhood, swimming, so many tournaments, so many competitions, years and years of hard work. And finally, he becomes an Olympic champion. For everyone who becomes 1,000 do not become still, the devotion is there. So I mean, and then I explain to you what is devotion, because we have some idea about devotion. Devotion means some doing some kirtan is called devotion, which is of course there. Some puja is called devotion, kirtan is called devotion, japa is called devotion. I'm not saying it's not devotion. But all that is karma, understand? Puja also is karma. There are many priests who are doing puja. And they go to community, they officiate many functions. You think they're devoted? They may or may not be. They are professionals. $250, $150, whatever it is, the rates are all decided. You call them for your even Prana Pratishtha ceremony, and then it's all rates are fixed. Of course, but devotion is different thing. He may be a devoted person. I'm not saying he's not. But then one may be performing puja and may not be devoted. Singing bhajan. Well, there are many professional people who sing bhajans. You invite them $10,000, $15,000, or X, they charge you. They sing bhajans. Now, whether there is devotion or whether he is doing it for money or doing it for Ishvara remains to be seen. Is it not so? It is not a given karma that is devotion. It is spirit behind that karma that makes it devotion. Devotion is commitment. Devotion is totally offering oneself, totally surrendering oneself. Therefore, you can say devotion is surrender. Surrender to all, surrender to the goal that I want to achieve. And my life completely is centered upon that, focused on that. So he wants to become a doctor, he wants to pass his examination very badly, therefore that all he does is just prepare for the test. Even if he watches TV as a recreation, it is only so that he can study better. He's dieting so that he can study better. He is doing something, whatever, not doing something, everything is for studying better so that he can achieve his goal. Whenever we are totally committed, devoted, inspired, then we become focused. So that total commitment, total offering of oneself, pouring oneself, making all the efforts in that direction, this is called devotion. Purushasya parapartha bhaktya labhyastunanya. Hey Partha, hey Arjuna, Sa Paraha Purusha, the limitless Purusha, the limitless Brahman, the limitless Self, the limitless God, the Supreme God. How to attain him? By ananya bhaktya, by bhakti or devotion or a commitment that does not admit of anything second. So we are also devoted, but then there may be devotion to many things. Swamiji, I am a householder, I have a family, and so I have children, I have this, I have that. So after all, I can't be totally, I can't study Gita all the time, I cannot do this whole day, I cannot attend all the camps, I cannot become a brahmachari, I cannot take a course. Because there are many things also occupying my attention. So there are many goals in our life. We want moksha also. But at the same time, very cold water. There are many desires we have, many ambitions we have, many things we want in our life. Along with that, we also want God. These are one of the things. Lord Krishna says, Sarva dharman parityajya mam ekam sharanam vraja. You have all other pursuits. You have all other agenda. Let me be the only agenda in your life. Upanishad says, Yame Vaishyavrude Tirlabhya Tasesha Atma Virude Tanum Swam. What is devotion? In fact, the 10th chapter describes devotion. And what does Ishwar Lord do? Lord Krishna says that in the 10th chapter, that my devotees are totally committed to me, yat chitta, their mind is always focused in me, they think of me only all the time. Mat gata prana, they live for me. And whatever action they perform, all perform for me. Bodhayantah parasparam. When they talk among each other, I am the topic. Kathantastamam nityam. When they talk, then whenever they talk about me. Meaning that I completely fill up their life. There's nothing other than me in their life. When I find that my devotees are totally committed to me, then I bless them. And I manifest before them, appear before them, meaning knowledge takes place. So what is devotion? Devotion is seeking the favor of what I want to achieve. Let us say that there is a scientist who is conducting some research, who is experimenting something. He wants to know something, understand something. That's the devotion. He puts all his efforts behind that. Day and night he is only thinking about that. And finally, he finds a solution, or he discovers what it is that he wanted to know. So when you find a solution, you know what happens? We have devotion because we want that solution very badly, therefore I am totally devoted. But then, what I am devoted to also reveals itself to me, thus being favorable to me. Meaning that devotion is what? Making God favorable to us. Lord Krishna says, Purushastha parpartha bhaktya libhyasthananyaya. Ananya bhakti, he can be attained, ananya bhakti. A devotion that knows no second. Devotion is totally committing myself, which makes the Ishvara also favorable to me. So bhakta makes God also favorable to me. He controls it. Lord Krishna says, when I find my devotees totally devoted to me, then I reveal myself before them. I appear before them, meaning that they know me as their own self. Purushastha parpartha bhaktya labhyasthananyaya yasyantasthaani bhutani yena sarvidam tatam. Ishvara, who is all pervasive, the self of all, the limitless, he is to be known as the very self by this bhakti. That may include your puja, that may include your japa, that includes everything, but behind that, what is the spirit? I just want one thing in my life. What do I want? I just want to know Him. If you are a seeker of knowledge, then what is bhakti? Just one commitment, that all I want is His knowledge and nothing else. So thus in the 8th chapter, Lord Krishna talks about Brahman, the limitless. He is both Nirguna as well as Saguna. In his true nature, Brahman or God is Nirguna, meaning that he transcends all attributes. At the same time, he alone manifests all the attributes. He is one without a second. He is our own self, and knowing Him is knowing myself as the limitless, and that way, yaprapya nivardante tadhama paramam mama, knowing which one does not return back to this life of sorrow, meaning that one gets established in one's nature of limitlessness or happiness. So, that is one aspect of the 8th chapter of Gita, Akshara Bhrama Yoga. The topic is Brahman, that is Aksharam, unimmutable or changeless or limitless. That's how Lord Krishna presents that in the 8th chapter. Changeless behind the changing. There's an interesting information given in the 8th chapter, just for information. And this impresses scientists also very much. Lord Krishna, everything is changing. also is changing. Brahma Loka is the highest abode. Our scriptures talk of 14 worlds, 7 up and 7 down. 7th heaven is called Brahma Loka. Bhuhu, Bhuvaha, Swaha, Maha, Jana, Tapaha, Satyam, Satyaloka, Brahma Loka, which later Acharya called Vaikuntha, Saketa, Kailas, whatever. Lord Krishna says, Abrahman Lokaha Punara Vartino. Here Arjuna, all the worlds up to Brahma Loka also Punaravartina. They all are subject to changing and committing, meaning they are created and they again get dissolved. But attaining me, there is no Punarjanmana Vidyate. So Lord Krishna says, I am only changeless one. Everything else is changing. So there is a cyclic creation. So our scriptures tell us that the one kalpa or one total cycle of creation has a duration of 100 years of Brahmaji. Brahma is what? Brahma is creator. And what is the duration of this whole universe? One cycle of creation is 100 years of Brahma. What is 1 year? 360 days makes up 1 year. Imagining 12 months of 30 days each, 360 days makes up 1 year. What is 1 day? 1 day is 24 hours, 1 night and 1 day. That makes it 1 day of Brahma. What's the duration of the 1 day of Brahma and 1 night? Sahasraga Paryantam Ayat Brahmana Viduhu. Brahma is 1 day is equal to 1000 Chatur Yugi. You know the concept of Yuga? Satya Yuga, Kruta Yuga, Treta Yuga, Dwapar Yuga. In which Yuga we are right now, you know? Kali Yuga. There are 4 Yugas. Our task is to talk about Kruta Yuga or Satya Yuga, Treta Yuga, Dwapar Yuga, Kali Yuga. Anybody knows here in which Yuga was Lord Rama? In which one? Treta Yuga. In which Yuga was Lord Krishna? Dwapar Yuga. Right, very good. We are in the Kali Yuga. You know what's the duration of Kali Yuga?
464,000 years.
432,000 years. 432,000 years is the duration of Kali Yuga. 432,000 years. What is Dwapar Yuga? Twice that. What is Treta Yuga? 3 times that. What is Kruta Yuga? 4 times that. So all the 4 together becomes what? 4.32 million years. One Chatur Yuga, I mean, the 4 Yugas together add up to what? 4.32 million years. Here Bhagavad Gita says, Sahasraga Paryantam Aharyat Brahmano Viduhu. Multiply that 1000, that becomes 1 day of Brahmaji. Multiply that is what? 4.32 billion years. 4.32 billion years is 1 day of Brahma, and 4.32 billion years is 1 night of Brahma. Therefore, 124-hour day of Brahma is what? 8.64 billion years. Very impressive. See, if you know the Shastra, Vedas talk about billions of years. So Brahmaji goes to sleep every night and wakes up every morning. When he goes to sleep, the whole world goes to sleep. When he wakes up, the whole world wakes up. This is the intermediate pralaya. So Brahma's 1 yuga, 1 day is 8.64 billion years. Multiply by 360, that becomes 1 year of Brahma. And multiply by 100, that becomes 1 lifespan of Brahma. You multiply it when you go home. As yet I have not done it, what is the final figure? But 8.64 billion years times 360 times 100. So that is 1, 2, 3, 4, 6. 8.64 years times 3 is 25 billion years, raised to 6, something like that. But 27 is to 10 is to 6 or something like that. That means that is the duration of one complete cycle. You know, talk about expanding world, contracting world, so there is an estimate. This is the changing constantly taking place. Don't think that the universe comes to an end. Brahma perishes, all right, but a new Brahma comes. And again this cycle. Now, every day Brahma goes to sleep and wakes up, that is the Avantara, the intermediate pralaya. When Brahma finally goes, it dissolves, that is what we call the Mahapralaya, Prakritika laya. When all the changes are taking place, from cause to the effect. What is creation? Cause to the effect. What is dissolution? Effect to the cause. From clay to pot is called creation. From pot back to clay is the dissolution. The cycle is going on constantly. When all the changes are taking place, parastasmat bhavanyo vyakto vyaktat sanatana yasya sarveshu bhuteshu nashyasva na vinashyati. So all these changes are taking place, but there is that changeless which is not born with the birth of other beings, which does not die with the death of other beings, which ever remains changeless. So thus in all these changes, in all the creation, sustenance, there's like a crazy thing is going on, there's something that does not change, which is resting place. Understand that you can never find rest in things that are changing. There cannot be rest. When is our final rest? When we get to the changeless, which is our nature. Finding that rest, there is no one unrest at all. And that's what we want. The river is running and rushing for what? To meet this ocean, so that it does not have to rush anymore. And so also, we are rushing in our life constantly. For what? Swami, I want to retire, finally. I want to take rest. Retire. That's good. But what is retirement? While we are busy, what is meant by retirement? Retirement means rest. Retirement means freedom from conflict. Retirement means freedom from exertion. Retirement does not mean not doing anything. But that kind of retirement never comes. We retire, Swamiji, I thought you read about Swami, but I took up some consulting work. And so 5 days a week, 3 days a week I go there and do this and that. Nobody retires. Even a fellow does not go and see, he keeps on doing something. In India people retire, what do they wake up in the morning, newspaper, 1 cup of tea, then newspaper, 2nd cup of tea, then take bath, then go out, then go to the market, talk to people there, go to the bank, come home, eat, go to sleep, again get up. Whatever. Retirement is whiling away time is not retirement. What is real retirement? Retirement is that when we become totally rested in our nature of rest, changelessness, limitlessness, yam prapya nivardante tad dhama paramama. Finding that rest, there is no restlessness at all. Then in spite of unrest, in spite of change also, you are rooted in the changeless. In spite of all limitations, you are rooted in the limitless. So once you are rooted in the changeless, limitless with our own nature, doesn't matter what the outer changes are. I said in the beginning, then to the wise man, the wise person, it does not matter whether there is mana, honor or dishonor, gain or loss, success or failure, whatever that is. When the person is rooted in the limitlessness of the nature, the total rest which is the nature, total peace of silence that's the nature, all these changes do not affect at all. Like the ocean, which is very changing in the superficial level, but in the bottom it is profound silence. And these superficial changes do not affect the silence at all. So also with this knowledge, the wise person is rooted in that profound silence, in that profound joy, in the limitless. Being rooted in that, once you get rooted, the superficial changes do not matter at all. Understand that this success and failure birth and death, gain and loss, honor and dishonor, all of superficial things. But we are swimming on the surface right now. With every wave coming, we go up and down. When you're at the bottom, then you are in the profound silence. At that time, doesn't matter what the waves are, what the changes are. That's what Vedanta teaches. Teaches us that once you know the truth of your own self, when you abide in the truth, then you abide in that profound silence. Abide in that profound or limitless joy. And then all phenomena occurring around yourself, they all become a matter of fun, meaning that you can enjoy things as they're happening without being affected by them. Oh, this is failure, very good, all right, fine. That's an event. Success also is an event. Failure also is an event. Gain also is an event. Loss also. You see, when you're not connected with that, you can enjoy it. Right now, afternoon there was a storm. We were inside the house and watching through the window, big window, and looking at the storm. If I was a leaf and turning around, or I was a tree which was then shaking, that's a different matter. But when I'm not, when I'm just a witness of what is happening, unaffected by that, when you're unaffected by something, you can enjoy it. When you become swirling in that, you cannot enjoy it. Right now you are swirling in the storm of life, all going up and down, round and round, being thrashed here and there. When you get rooted in your true nature, then the life becomes what? Something that you watch and enjoy. Because you are unaffected by what is happening. You are not affected not because you are changed, not because you are insensitive, but because you are rooted in something that is not changed. So when you are rooted in the changeless, the change does not matter to you. Akshara Bhrama. Aksharam, the changeless, the imperishable. And that is the truth of life, that is the truth of ourselves, and this is what the 8th chapter is teaching us. Before we conclude, any questions? I know it's a very serious topic, but that's what the 8th chapter discusses, and so to do some justice, we had to discuss this serious topic this evening. The other part, where Lord Krishna talks about the death and what happens after the death, that is the subject matter of discussion tomorrow morning. That you will find more interesting, but people are always interested, what happens when death, what happens after death and all that stuff. People are not much interested in what is happening now, they are always interested in what happens after death. But talk about what is happening now, What does the death matter? But then death is very important to us. Yes, sir.
Swamiji, you mentioned Ananya Bhakti. And is there a difference between Bhakti, Abhicharani and Ananya Bhakti?
Abhicharani Bhakti, Ananya Bhakti, no, the same thing. Same thing. Yes.
Swamiji, you mentioned devotion to other things. Does that devotion in any way prepare us for devotion to God, or no?
Devotion what?
So people maybe, as a child, you may be devoted to swimming or something else. Does that devotion help you in the future?
That was an example of devotion. That was devotion to a certain goal. Devotion to a certain goal that you want to reach. It helps in building the character of the child, of course. In terms of it gives the focus and it gives the commitment. So certainly it is very helpful. Same kind of focus and commitment is there on the ultimate goal of life, then that is what we call devotion. This can be. So when we use the word devotion, it is a commitment to the ultimate goal of life. But these are also devotions, which are devotions to. Unfortunately, that's a devotion to a temporary goal. Therefore, even after reaching that goal also, you come back meaning that there is always something else to do. even after you become an Olympic champion, then also there is of course a great joy for a period of time. Then again there is something you find same need to do something else. Here we are talking about achieving that, because of which you become totally free from any need. So, however, a devotion like that to a certain goal in the life is extremely useful to build the character, to develop the concentration, commitment, resolve, willpower, etc. Yes, it is very helpful. Yes.
Swamiji, is Brahman self-conscious?
Brahman is consciousness.
Right, but is it self-conscious? Is it aware of?
Yes, it is awareness itself. Everything shines in awareness.
But then I mean, like we are self-aware, we are aware of ourselves. Is Brahman aware of itself that it is Brahman? Is there such a thing? I don't even know whether that's a good question or maybe I'm a little confused, so that's why I asked.
Yeah, yes. When you say Brahman, you mean Ishvara. Does Ishvara know himself? Yes, Ishvara is self-conscious. In the 10th chapter, Arjuna says, Swayameva Atmana Atmanam Vettattvam Purushottama. Hey Purushottama, you know yourself. Why yourself? Because you are of the nature of knowledge. So, understand, Brahman, in terms of consciousness, doesn't know itself, there is no knowingness there. But Brahman with Maya, which is called Ishvara, then there is a knowingness. So what we call self-conscious knower comes when there is mind. You follow? So in consciousness itself, there is no knowerness. There is just being, that's all there is. Even knowerness also is not there. In that sense, Brahman does not know itself in terms of being self-conscious. But when the mind comes, then the question of self-consciousness comes. So Brahman with the total mind is called Ishvara. So with that, in that sense, Brahman is self-conscious. But in as much as Brahman is consciousness, the question of self-consciousness doesn't, because it is consciousness. Because it is consciousness, therefore the question of self-consciousness does not come. It is consciousness, it is self-revealing. Meaning that when you know yourself as Brahman, then question of my conscious of being myself, that is not there. Your being conscious of yourself, that duality is not there, you are consciousness. As an individual, you are conscious that you are consciousness. In the individual mind, there is consciousness that you are consciousness. So perhaps your question is, when I gain this knowledge, am I conscious of that I am Brahman? Yes. Because there is a mind with this consciousness there that I am Brahman. Okay, so we shall conclude tonight.
Yeah, I think we'll have the Aarti now. I just have one last question, more out of curiosity than anything else. I think that in the Gita, of course, in the discourses, it's emphasized all the time. You're going from Ekarupa to Vishwarupa to Arupa, the sequence that is there. But when, in general, though, when you talk, I'm wondering if there's something about an average Indian, or is there a question? You talk to a lot of Indian audiences when you do discourses, and but it seems like we get lost in the Ekarupa type of thing, that this overall vision is not necessarily there in general. Am I right or wrong? Or
it's not there, that's what we say. That's what separates, that notion separates us from what we are. Yes, I take myself as an individual. That's what you mean by Ekarupa, isn't it? Yeah. So we are so deeply rooted in the notion of being an individual, and all this hammering, reminding again and again, and making us see that individuality is not right, it's not a reality about you. Yes, because we are rooted in that notion of individuality and separated this. So I am an individual, you are another individual, I am separate from you. And that we suffer from separatedness, individuality, separatedness.
Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om.
We'll be meeting at 9:15 tomorrow, and I hope, please do